Gotta kick off the show here.
We're agreeing.
So cleaned up. Alrighty, welcome back, Bills Mafia. Welcome to the Mafia Cast, part of the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast and podcast network. It's hasn't been a great week, but Mike, how's your week been?
It's been better. It's been worse, I guess.
I mean, we're all alive and breathing, right? That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Casey's not going to make it with us on live, anyways. He isn't, in the background, in the studio, but
A little
I'm
under
not
the
gonna
weather.
say a lot of details, but yeah, he's a little under the weather. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bill's season is done. It's over. I mean, time to look forward, but let's rehash this game just a little bit because There's one thing in particular that I kind of wanted to mention and talk about that I'm really actually not seeing a whole lot brought up, and that's the loss of Terrell Bernard.
Yeah.
I personally think he plays in that game, we win. I think that's how important he was to that defense, and it showed. Travis Kelce open over the middle a lot again.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of my thought. I know our halftime show, we talked a little bit about maybe Dorian Williams coming in. He did get some play time. I believe he got beat as well. So we needed
Yeah.
Bernard, but what do you think, Mike?
I mean, I'd agree because I mean, as close as this game was and as solid as Bernard has been for us for for all year long, it seems like
Yeah.
I feel like he would have made a huge difference, and man, he was a huge loss right here at the end of the year. Yeah, and like he was the guy filling the hole, and then we were just so deep into the depth chart, and yeah, I do agree, and I think he would have made a big difference that game.
Well, I know at
Not
one
take
point in
anything
that
away from
game,
the line because he came in like he's been on the team,
man,
like he
okay.
never left.
AJ Klein. So I rewatched a little bit of the game. I haven't gotten through the whole thing, but I was watching some of it, and I saw Klein chasing ball carriers way too much in this one,
Yeah.
particularly in the passing game. We know
Oh.
that's not his strength. We know
Mhm.
that. And at one point in the game, I know Tyler Matakevich had to come in
Yeah.
and fill in for a few plays. Yeah, yeah. The Bernard situation to me that was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. I thought McDermott did a fantastic job all season long for the most part of kind of keeping the defense afloat,
Yeah.
especially down the stretch during that 6-game winning streak. But I think Bernard and Benford too, that was just too much for them to overcome. And then, of course, Von Miller not being Von Miller, the defensive line just I don't know what happened to them. You got any thoughts on the defensive line? Like, where'd they go?
I mean, basically, they're all we had. So I don't know. I mean, Ed Oliver still had a great season.
Yeah,
But we were just not getting the pressure. It seems right there at the end, like we've seen, this earlier in the year. So
yeah.
I really don't know what
Well, and
happened there. They
there
started.
was
We
a,
started.
there was
We
a few
got.
times.
We stepped
There's
up, and then I don't know. They started taking us more seriously or what. But
there was a few times in there that I saw Russo kind of getting after Mahomes, Floyd, these guys, but Floyd was banged up. Russell Douglas was banged up, and that was noticeable. And it just seemed like every time we did manage to get any kind of pressure, Mahomes was on the run. And I put this out earlier today, and if anybody that listens to this knows the answer, find me on Twitter, or you can shoot us an email. Mike, what is our email address?
the MafiaCast3 at gmail.com.
That's it. Shoot me an email because I'm curious to know if there's a metric or stat out there that shows X player gets this many pressures, but what's the result of those pressures? What is the result of that pressure? A 12-yard scramble for a first down because that doesn't accomplish anything. That doesn't help the
Right.
defense, right?
Yeah.
Was it a 52-yard scramble by Josh Allen for a touchdown kind of thing? The pressures are great, but if you don't get these guys on the ground, it almost means nothing in a lot of cases, right?
I
So
mean, yeah.
it
You're not
it
making the
was
play, and
frustrating
it's
to
just
watch. Yeah,
working the opposite. Then
yeah, you got to finish the
it really
plays. You got
doesn't
to get
matter.
these guys on the ground.
Yeah.
Um, do you have anything else from this game that stood out to you? I know there's a lot of different narratives floating around this past week about whose fault it is or this or that.
I mean,
I have some thoughts on that too, but go ahead.
once again, it was. I mean, it wasn't the ugliest game for the Bills, but just once again, it's just like a few mishaps. Like they said in the post game, I think McDermott said it, Josh said it, a few guys said it, but we were just one play short. They had to make that one play, and I think we can pick out which of those few plays needed to happen. Obviously, the field goal at the end of the game would have been huge, and I got to throw out there that the negative response and all that crap is just ridiculous. You're not a real Bills fan
Yeah,
if you're taking that route. I just got to throw that out there. Um,
yeah.
but between the missed kick and the drops, that was basically it. That stick a fork in us, we're done. I mean, killer drop from Diggs. I mean, way downfield.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh, it's just like I said, a couple plays went a different way. One play maybe just went a different way. Totally different
Y-
story. Again with the field goal thing. Who's to say Chiefs wouldn't march down and score again anyways? They would have had about a minute left. So
Yeah,
other
and
than
you and
that, I mean,
that's
we
a valid point because we were saying the same thing the last time we played the Chiefs on that Travis Kelsey lateral. We're like, well, yeah, but Allen would have had a minute and a half to score, so it's the same thing, same kind of situation.
yeah.
You mentioned the drops. That's the other thing. Number one, and we'll see how this offseason goes. That's one part of this offseason I'm not looking forward to, though, is hearing all the chatter about Stephon Diggs. And I
Yeah.
really hope that Diggs doesn't just go home and unwind, crack open a beer,
Really
don't
get
get
bored.
involved in the yeah, because it's
Right.
going to be happening, and I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing these things pop up about Diggs getting traded or the Bills wanting to cut Diggs and all this
Being recruited
nonsense
by
because
Trayvon and
yeah, it's just ridiculous. But I will say this about Diggs: down the stretch, it was incredibly frustrating.
mhm,
He was still getting the targets. Was he getting 15 targets a game? No, he was still getting close to 10 targets almost every game,
yeah,
and he was only coming up with 3, 4 catches at a time. The big drop that was huge. I think going forward, Diggs will be fine. I'm hoping. I think it was just I don't know, maybe a down half a season, whatever. He's 30, so I don't necessarily think that that's the proverbial cliff that he's fallen off of as far as being able to do it. But I will add this: if you're supposed to be a top 5 receiver, you're supposed to be one of the elite of the elites. You've got to make those plays.
oh
That
yeah,
drop down the sideline was massive. He
yeah,
makes that catch. We might be talking a different tune this week.
yeah.
But I don't want to put all the blame on him because it's not
No,
all on him.
no,
Ken
like I
Sherfield
said,
dropped a couple.
yeah. Although it did look like Sherfield's arm was being held in the replay.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to catch that on your shoulder one handed. And I'm not going to complain about the refs or anything like that because you know how the game goes. That's just the way it is. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the Bills really seemed in control of that game, and I mean, we held the ball longer. You know, we had a lot of stats that were, ended up being more than Kansas City's. But I don't know. In the second half, our running game, we got jammed a couple times, and then I don't know, we just kind of got away from it. We got desperate. You got Josh tossing the ball, long passes. Um, but yeah, I just want to throw it out there that we just how much longer we held the ball. It seemed like we really were in control. And yeah,
I think it
once again,
was
a couple of them
it was
plays.
like 36 minutes, 37 minutes to their
Yeah.
20, 22, 23, somewhere around there. It was,
Right.
and you're right. We had more yards. We won the turnover battle. We had the time of possession. Like every stat that
More
you can
first
imagine,
downs.
we had it,
We ran almost 80
except the
plays to
points.
their 50,
Yeah,
not even 50. So
it's. I mean, it's weird,
that works
and it's
sometimes, but
unexplainable. It
yeah,
it really is unexplainable.
I guess not all the time.
Somebody asked on Twitter earlier today about um, imagine if Milano hadn't gotten injured, if he could play. And yeah, we can do the what ifs all day long, but my response to the question was basically this, or to the statement was, if this team can stay healthy as they are right now, they would have been the number one seed, and I think they'd be playing this weekend too at home.
Yeah.
The defense at the beginning of the year was terrific. Matt Milano was terrific. Terrell Bernard was like shocked us all. Davis White, even though he wasn't quite all pro level that we are used to, I think he was on his way to getting there. And then, all came crashing down. And
Mhm.
it sucks so bad that, again, second year in a row, here we are talking about injuries, decimating this team, and preventing them from doing what they are more than capable of doing. To sit here and say that McDermott's got to go because he can't get it done is BS. To say Tyler Bass is at fault because he missed the field goal is BS. To say Diggs dropped a pass is BS. I mean, this was a team effort loss.
Mhm.
There was, like I said, Klein chasing ball carriers and chasing after receivers, Travis Kelsey.
Oh,
There's the multiple drops.
I just remembered a
I
big
mean,
one. How about
which one?
the play call to go for it on 4th and 5 around our own 30?
The opening drive?
The fake punt.
The fake punt.
The fake punt to Hamlin.
Yeah. That's
Crazy.
one of those that if
Crazy.
it
That's
works
absolutely
though,
insane.
McDermott's a genius, right? That's
Yeah.
what that would be the narrative today. McDermott's a genius. Oh my gosh, he's got what
That's a
size of
very risky
what's
play. Oh,
but it
man.
didn't work.
5
So
yards,
of
man.
course,
That's tough. I
yeah.
mean, you're not
I
QB
think in
sneaking it
that
that far, but
no. Well, I mean, we've seen
you should punt
Allen
it.
QB sneak it for 5 yards before.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
Um,
We got the ball back. They didn't even score after that. That's when that fumble went
yeah,
through the end zone, right? And then
yeah.
we
That
blew it
was the
again. Yeah, it was just missed opportunity after missed opportunity.
yeah. Well, I think what had happened with as far as the run game, because I know a lot of people talking about we got away from the run, we got away from the run, and we did. But I think the reasoning for that was because the Chiefs realized we can't push the ball down the
Mhm.
field. The safeties came up playing closer to the line of scrimmage. And then because it felt like in that second half early, James Cook had his way in the first half, but in the second half, he just kept running into a wall and going nowhere.
Right.
And I think that was why, because the defense was playing closer to the line because they were like, we're not concerned about what they can do down the field. There's no Gabe Davis. I think Davis would have made a difference in this one.
He might have or he might not.
I think he would have. I know,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
it's
he has a
big play game or big game, Gabe, right? This was a
yeah,
big game.
he definitely can make the plays. Um, but yeah, who knows? Who knows, man? Our health just slipped right away at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big part of it. Let's move forward though. Like I said, I don't want to spend a whole heck of a lot of time on the game because I'm one of those that when something saddens me or doesn't go well, my coping mechanism is move on, put it in the review and move forward.
Yeah.
We've got an off season to get ready for, which is perfect because we have some questions in here. And not really questions, but John Roberts says we have a lot of free agents this off season. We do. We have 21 of them, and Daquan Jones probably being the biggest of the bunch. Trying to remember who some of the other ones are, but right now we have one interior defensive lineman. That's Ed Oliver under contract for 2024. How important do you think it is to get Daquan back?
I mean, I just I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble visioning us losing that many defensive linemen. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they gotta at least a few of them got to come back. Daquan, I don't know. Ed Oliver is huge. I mean, he's the one I'm most excited is coming back. Just because of the year he's had. I mean, Daquan's a solid piece. He's been here for a while. So I mean, I got to look at the list, but I mean, obviously he's more important than like,
Here,
Puna Ford, who didn't get a lot of snaps, and he was, more of like a
mhm,
depth piece for us. Guys like that. So he's
yeah.
definitely starting
But
caliber player that we could use next year.
here's the thing with Puna Ford, he's only 28 years old.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
right.
think they
Potential to
could
be
bring him
seen.
back. Yeah. Daquan Jones, and Daquan has already said after the game that he wants to be here. He wants to come back, but we've got to go through the process and everything.
Yeah,
The list, though, I've got it here. So Micah Hyde, of course, is at the top of this list here, then followed by Daquan Jones. I personally don't think Micah Hyde comes back. I think he's going to go into retirement. I think it has more to do with the neck situation than it does just not being able to play
right.
physically. Well, I guess that's obviously that's physical, but because during his post game press conferences, he made the comment it was a battle, it was a struggle every single week to go out there on that field because of the pain. He suffered multiple stingers, so
Yeah,
I just think he's done. It's seven seasons with him and Poyer back there together. And Poyer's another one. He's still under contract for this coming season, but is he going to play? We don't know about that either. There's, he might decide to ride off in the sunset with his buddy Micah. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But we got Daquan Jones, Leonard Floyd's another big one. He's 31. I think I think I think that should be a priority. I think we need to get Floyd back in here. Tim Settle, who is only 26, he's
yeah.
currently a free agent. Jordan Phillips is a free agent. Uh, I've heard that he's contemplating retirement as well, though. Tyler Mitakevich, Puna Ford, Dane Jackson. Let's stop with Dane Jackson for a minute. What do you
He
think
kind of
about
stepped up, and,
Jackson?
and I think he's progressed. I feel like his game is still improving. So I think I'd hate to see him go. He is a good depth piece, and if we're all banged up, he's good enough to get it done. Like that wasn't. I don't think it was a huge issue with all the injuries. I don't feel like he was hurting us being in the game. So he stepped up for
Yeah,
Rasul. He said, "I got you" when he could have went, but was just being safe.
yeah.
Um,
Here's my
so
worry. Well, not really worry, but my thought, I guess, with Dane Jackson. I have the same thought when it comes to Terrell Dotson because he's a free agent as well.
mm,
When Tre'Davious White comes back next season, and he may or may not be ready for the start of the season, we don't know yet.
right,
But you've got Rasul Douglas under contract for one more year. Christian Benford will be back. Kyrie Elam, who I know a lot of people are already labeling him as a bust. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the ankle injury. I think
yeah.
that was a legit issue because he played pretty well when he came back. So I think he's going to compete.
He's got some
Um,
serious athleticism. If he can just control
yeah,
it a little more, maybe
absolutely.
he could be a serious piece in
So
our defense.
and then the same thing with Dodson. You've got Milano coming back and Bernard. That's clearly our 1 and 2.
Mhm.
After that, you got Dorian Williams, who I expect to further develop and get better. Guys like Dane Jackson and Terrell Dodson, they want to play. They want a shot at starting. So for that reason, I wouldn't be shocked if they do decide to go elsewhere and take a free agent deal, um,
Yeah,
especially with Dodson, because Dodson has been pretty much the backup his entire time he's been here until this season. He finally got his shot and played really well. I believe he was the PFF's Pro Football Focus's third-rated linebacker in the NFL. And I say this all the time. Say what you want about the PFF. I mean, it's something, right? I mean, they don't
mhm.
just willy nilly
It's
grab
not just
numbers
made
and
up.
throw it at the wall. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, um, so I don't think he's going to want to go back to a backup role, which is I'm pretty sure what would happen when Milano gets back. So I think there's a real possibility that Dotson goes elsewhere. Dane Jackson's a little different story, just because he's been here for so long already, and he has been, um, a productive part of the defense.
hmm.
But I did a mock draft earlier today, actually. Well, I didn't. I actually had AI do it, which is kind of cool. you can check that. I wrote the article about it, and you can go check that out at buffalolowdown.com. It's up right now. But the very first pick, and I'll just spoil this part of it because I don't think it's a shocker, was a wide receiver. Do you agree with that? Knowing some of the depth issues and some of the potential losses with maybe Poyer and Hyde both, do you think wide receivers, whether Bills should go round one?
Yes. I believe we should always be exploring how we can improve Josh Allen's weapons. Well, why not?
Yeah,
Um,
I agree absolutely. And I know, and as far as like the cap situation, before we get too deep into free agents and stuff, I know
mhm,
they're last time I looked, I think it was 43.7 million, according to I think overthecap.com is the one that has that listed. If Spot Track is your thing, theirs is a little bit different, only by like 500,000. But there's going to be a lot of restructures. I personally am not too worried about that. Greg Thompson of Cover One did a great show last night, breaking down the Bills' whole cap situation where they can save money. Sarah Larson, Buffalo Rumblings' very own, she is fantastic with cap, salary cap structures and situations and all
right.
of that. So she's a great one to listen to as well for all that information. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that the Bills can do to get that cap number down, and they're going to do it. So I'm not really worried about that. I don't anticipate any big, huge signings as far as free agency goes. I think this roster, with the exception of a few depth pieces through free agency and some picks in the draft, is going to be largely the same.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if there's a solid weapon, maybe a receiver with some size or crazy speed or I mean, yeah. I mean, adding that into the mix, and sort of just running it back. I mean, man, we're so close right now.
Yeah,
And I just gotta say,
we just
going
got to
on
stay healthy, man.
a 6-game run at the end of the season, into the playoffs, that's tough. It's tough to go on a 6-game run in at any point in the regular season. Um, but to
Yeah.
see us do it all right there at the end, is man, as disappointing as it feels, uh, man, there's a lot of positives we can take from that and just being a couple plays away.
Yeah. Mike, you have a graphic here because
Mhm.
you kind of talking about the late run and everything. I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw that graphic up there, the point
This
differentials.
this
Yeah, this is over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year, 5 years. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5 seasons.
7.
Buffalo's point differential in the positive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, wild card loss, conference championship loss, 3 years in a row divisional. But to your point, this team is so close. They do this 13-3, 12-7, 11-6. They do these late season runs. In the last 2 years, it's been with some of their key players on the sidelines because they're injured.
Yeah.
Last year, it was White and Von Miller with big injuries. Down the stretch, I believe Daquan Jones missed the playoffs because of an injury.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, this team year after year is close.
And
I'm not a proponent of.
I'm still sticking with the reason I made this graphic is because I was calling this when we were struggling midway through the season. I was calling this our off year, even though I said we can go 6-6 and then go on a run and still get to the playoffs. I was still calling it our off year because next year I swear we're gonna have 13, 14 wins. I promise you that. This team is we're on the
They can
incline.
do it.
I mean, you see it right there.
The
I mean, not
D
with the point differential. I mean, because that's you play a different division every year, so
different
you
schedule. I mean,
some divisions are harder than others. Um, so you can't really go by point differential. But I mean, from going to not being in the playoffs and losing the wild card to get into the divisional round 3 years in a row and win the division, I mean, we're still on the up and up. And all
yeah,
these people
yeah,
calling for
absolutely.
McDermott's head, it's like, what are you crazy?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And here's one other point too that I'll bring up as far as the coaching. I'm going to kind of refer to the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders situation, and Antonio Pierce, interim head coach. The Raiders played pretty well under him. I think they finished 5-4 with him at the helm. Max Crosby came out after the season and said, if you guys don't hire him as a full-time head coach, I'm out. Trade me. I think the Bills players, they have that type of relationship and connection with Coach McDermott.
Yeah, I'm
If
sure.
this team were to fire him, I guarantee you we would lose some players. I guarantee you there would be other free agents from other teams that would look over here like, yeah, I'm gonna go elsewhere. Because a lot of the reason why guys like Matt Milano sign for less money is because of the culture that Sean McDermott has instilled on this team. You take him out of the picture, you get rid of him, and it completely changes everything. And you might be starting completely over.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an issue. We're a few plays
Yeah.
away. McDermott doesn't drop the ball. He doesn't miss a kick. I know I'm just throwing blames everywhere, but it's all together. I don't think play calling. I don't think the way he handled the defense with all the injuries too is an issue. So I just really don't know where people are coming up with that idea. I mean, there was a point where you know in the season, you know, maybe before the whole Dorsey thing, where we were really like, what the heck's going on? But I mean, to switch it up now, you think the window is closed? I mean, you some people are saying the window's closed. You switch up a coach and make the wrong move, and then you really do waste the career of a really good quarterback.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He's more
you
than
bring
really
up
good. I don't mean that.
Yeah, the Super Bowl window situation. That's a popular narrative as well, and it was even before this season too. And I think we showed that it's still open. But some of the things that I kind of want to point to going into 2024, outside of Josh Allen, yeah, that window's open as long as he's our quarterback. But
Yep.
you've got a lot of young talent on this team that really showed out this year, and Khalil Shakir, James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, Terrell Bernard, Christian Benford. There's a lot of young talent here. Ed Oliver had a career year, and I expect that to continue.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
So yeah, the window's wide open. To me, it's not even the window shades are not moving. They're still wide open and have been for the last 4 or 5 years now.
What's this, Roy Collins? We have a hard schedule this. Can't wait to hear. We have a hard schedule this year. This is what happens when you win the division. Be thankful we're good. That's right, man. When you put a target on your back, being the good team, and when you're the team to beat, well, even the mediocre teams try really hard and sometimes get the best of you.
They do sometimes. Let me ask you a question. So, and Casey can hear us, so I want to hear his opinion as well in the comments, and anybody else is listening right now. For those of you that experienced both the 17-year drought and this Super Bowl drought, we'll call it, we're in the playoffs every year. There's always hope. Do you prefer the annual heartbreak, but yet always having that opportunity, that chance, versus, well, I'm just going to watch the games. I know we're probably not going to win because we're not very good. And we didn't make the playoffs again. Okay, well, go into the draft and maybe we'll get our quarterback. Which would you prefer?
It was healthier for me when we weren't making the playoffs.
Healthier. That's a good way to put it.
That game was stressful, man. That last game was stressful. That's up there with one of the most stressful games I've watched. Of course, I was too little in the early 90s to really know what was going on, but
yeah,
that was a
Casey says
stressful
the
game to watch.
He
there
would
was a
rather have
few
the drought.
this year.
Yeah, there are moments when I'm watching these games and I think, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
Maybe, the drought was easier because my focus was more on fantasy football and things like that. And, but when I go out living in Idaho, okay, I live in the Boise area. When I go out and some stranger from 6 grocery aisles down is like, "Go Bills," out of, in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Because of how good they are now, and I don't care if they're a bandwagon fan or not. I mean, at some point,
that's cool.
I became a fan in 1988 when the team was getting good. So does that make me a bandwagon fan? I mean, but we wouldn't have that, and I never got that during the drought. I never once did I hear anybody
Right.
or see anybody wearing Bill stuff.
Right.
So for me, it's kind of cool seeing that.
Yeah. And it's a lot more fun when you're winning more games. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Even though it is stressful, it's a lot more fun. Even though ticket prices are higher, you feel a lot better about the game.
it's
There's a lot of
true.
crap talking. You gotta I mean, people can really talk crap when you're bad too, but it's more, it can get more heated. Oh, these Dolphins fans are
Well,
crazy. That's another
well,
thing
yeah,
I
because
just want to I bring up Dolphins fans, and it's a point I wanted to bring up earlier about the Tyler Bass and the threats thing. It's like you're either not real Bills fans, or like I feel like half of these people got to be Dolphins fans just trolling. So just get the hell out of here.
I it's kind of honestly, it's weird to me that
I didn't
there's
mean to
so
bring it
many.
up again. I hate that crap.
It's weird to me that there's so many fans out there of Dolphins fans particularly,
Yeah,
and I'm seeing some Chiefs fans too. But I mean, they did move ahead, so it's fine. I can accept that. But the Dolphins fans talking so much crap about us getting beaten and not advancing to the championship round,
they're
and
just trolling.
like, well, what did you accomplish this year? What have you ever accomplished in the last 30 years?
Yeah,
It's just I don't know. It's odd to me that they even
yeah.
care that much.
I
I've
work
had to
with a
block a
Dolphins
few of them
fan.
because it's
It's
just
like, hey, anyone got a Chiefs jersey I could borrow? Like, get a life.
I know I don't get it, but teach their own, I
Sucks.
guess. Uh, so moving forward,
Yeah.
we'll
Oh, do
kind of
we
talk
want
about
to?
the receivers.
What's that?
What
I'm sorry.
do we want to what?
Oh, we were gonna we can wait, I guess.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know where you were going, but I didn't want to forget this,
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Go
the
for it.
announcement here. So I don't know. Some of our viewers might have noticed. Hopefully, you see a little Game On logo there in the corner, the top right corner of the screen. And it's been added to our intro and closing video. So we're doing a little partnership here with John at Game On Sports. Um, I'll be going to a store this weekend to see him. But basically, we'll be promoting some of his events. We're going to be getting out to events, trying to do some media coverage, and just doing a little networking and working together with him and seeing what we can do. So yeah, I just want to let everyone know what's going on with that, and look forward to seeing more of that kind of stuff on our page, signings, new memorabilia that comes into a shop, um, just doing trade shows, or the sports expo shows, things like that. So really trying to promote that, and he's going to promote us a little bit, and see where it goes. So yeah, I just want to announce to everyone, all our viewers, that Mafia Cast now presented by Game On Sports, with
We
stores in
officially have it.
Hamburg and Greece. And
Hamburger. Okay.
I actually
Um,
didn't misspeak and say burger. I was going to say hamburger, and
okay.
but
Moving
it worked
forward,
out that way.
yes.
I'm not the first one to say that, but yeah, stores out in Hamburg and Greece. They always got cool stuff going on. His son runs the one store, but yeah, go check them out. They got all sorts of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's gonna
Minimal
be
Dolphins. Minimal
it's
Dolphins
gonna be a
art.
good
So,
2024. We're hoping to take this kind of the show to
yeah,
some new heights and
very
help
excited.
John with Game On Sports kind of take his stores to new heights as well. So
Yeah.
exciting times for the Mafia Cast. Um, so the only thing I was going to go into was we kind of talked about the wide receivers a little bit as far as the first round. What are some of the other positions that you see on this roster that needs to be addressed, like priority number two after, or maybe you have something that's more of a priority than even wide receiver?
Uh, Definitely safety. You know, we talked about that a little bit. The Hyde and Poyer situation. Corner, um, with Dane Jackson, we mentioned, contract up, and the injuries. But I think mostly on defense, I want to say, I mean, D tackle too, but receiver is huge. Um, man, I'm really struggling with the Hyde and Poyer thing. It's going to be weird not seeing one or both of them there. Whatever happens.
Yeah.
Um, we were talking about safety last year in the off season, and I think you were on board. We were looking at a few different players that we could have possibly got. Obviously, we didn't go that way. But maybe this is the year we go try to look for some new safeties, some more depth there, or possibly someone who can start if Hyatt is truly out of here, and whatever however
And Poyer
next
too.
season works out with Poyer.
Yeah. You bringing up the safeties, that reminded me that Taylor Rapp is also a free agent, pending free
Right?
agent.
Yes.
I think they need to bring him back.
Yeah.
Um,
We weren't
was
sure when he
he?
got here, and then he ended up being a really good fit.
Yeah, I thought he was a good fit. I wouldn't. It was a little underwhelming, I think, for
Yeah.
me. There were some moments when I was like, okay, this is why they brought the guy. And then there was other moments like, why did we bring this guy on? But I do think that if he's plugged in there as a full-time guy, as the
Yeah.
starter, the guy,
Yeah.
I think that he could do that, and then fill in the other spot with maybe a rookie. Maybe there's another free agent out there. Maybe Damar Hamlin. I don't know. What do you think about Damar Hamlin potentially being the starting safety next year?
We got to see more from him. I mean,
But you
he's
didn't see enough of him this year.
right.
I think he played like 6 snaps all year.
I know. I don't see him taking that big of a step. Um, maybe we'll see this upcoming year. Him actually get back on his feet and get more snaps. Um, he should if we don't add too much more depth to that position. But I mean, is he really the guy? I don't know. We've seen him make plays, we've seen him do well, but it's just been a long time. So I think he's got to sort of reprove himself at this point.
Yeah, and I think there was moments when he wasn't playing well too.
Yeah.
There's a couple of comments regarding it. Roy says, in my opinion, Hamlin may not make the team. Um, I kind of agree with Roy actually on this.
Yeah.
I almost feel like the safety room is going to be completely rebuilt, with the
Mm.
exception of Rapp. I think they bring him back, but Casey's like saying, give me Cam Lewis before Hamlin.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why Hamlin was on the inactive every single week for the most part, and Lewis was not. Um, I don't know. I think it's a position we need to bring some. I think we
There's
need to
big
draft
shoes
a
to
spot.
fill, is what it is.
It is absolutely. I think it's a position we need to draft, but I'm also confident in um, Sean McDermott and Brandon Bean in particular to get the right guys in there because they
Mhm.
brought in Micah Hyde as a free agent 7 seasons ago when he was, an okay safety at Green Bay, but he wasn't like a household name or anything. Same thing with Poyer. Brought those two guys in and they flourished. So I'm confident that they can do that with somebody else. Who that might be, I don't know. I haven't looked at all the free agents upcoming just yet, and it's kind of early, anyways, to look at it because a lot of them are going to re-sign before,
Right.
we get even into March. But Roy, he brought his three: wide receiver, defensive tackle, and safety.
Okay.
I agree. I think that's the top. I would also throw linebacker in there, only because, and not as a top early draft pick, but what we saw this year. I think we lose Dotson. Balen Spector, that's one of Casey's guys, but I'm sorry, he can't stay healthy. Every time he's had an opportunity, he gets hurt. I
He
think he
does
can
good, and then he
play.
gets
I
hurt.
do. Yeah, I think he's pretty good. Actually, I do.
Ah,
I think he could play in this league, but he just can't stay healthy, and that's a pretty important aspect
huge.
of playing NFL. So I think for me, it's wide receiver in round 1. I mean, the team might even go edge in round 2, or
Yeah,
even flip flop those
right. I mean,
because
because
we look
yeah,
at their edge.
Floyd kind of
Yeah, go
stepped
ahead.
in when we needed him, but with him being a question mark now,
Yeah,
I mean,
free agent. We don't know what we're going to get Von Miller. Epinesa is in a contract year, so he's a pending free agent. And I've heard some people talk about they can let him go. That he's for what he might be valued on the open market, he's
right.
not worth that. He has shown up in flashes this year, but what Buffalo needs is a consistent, every down pass rusher. Somebody like we're never going to find this guy, but somebody like a Bruce Smith. That every single day he was a problem. Every single game he was a problem. Uh, Floyd, I felt like he was that guy this year up until the last month or so, and then he kind of tailed off. He got
Yeah,
up to double-digit sacks pretty quick, and then he finished, I think, with 12 and a half.
yeah. It was like a, I don't know. There was just like a spurt where he was doing really well, and getting after it, but I don't know what the heck happened. Man, it just fell apart. I'm sad.
It did. It fell apart. Who are some of the other edge guys? Who else am I
Drew,
missing? I know Epinesa's gone. Floyd may or may not.
well, not one's leaving. You're talking
Rousseau.
about one's
Rousseau's
leaving.
the other one.
Yeah, but
Rousseau,
his
I feel like
contract
he's
isn't up, right? Or is it?
no.
Right. Okay.
His is not up, so he's a returning guy. As far as the guys that I know of are under
Kingsley
contract, it's
Jonathan.
basically Miller and Rousseau, and there might be Kingsley Jonathan might be as well. I'm not sure about some of the practice squad guys,
Right.
but I just feel like they need to. Excuse me. I think they do need to get some more talent there, some young guys to come in. I think the last couple of years the Bills have been trying to use free agency to answer that need, and it hasn't been working, mostly because of injuries, like Von Miller. But um, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about? What would your reaction be if the Bills draft edge in round 1?
If they drafted Edge,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I'd be pretty stoked because if they drafted Edge in the first round, they'd it'd be for someone who's going to be a game changer. I'm pretty sure. And I can't. My goal was to watch more college football this year, and I didn't get around to that, so I can't tell you who that would be. But I feel like if they did make a move first round for an edge rusher, yeah, it would be a huge move, and it's hard. No matter who our first round pick is, you got to get excited about it. But for whatever reason, if we did that, being it maybe not our biggest need, it would be somebody who would be huge and change that up for us.
yeah. I guess my, and I don't know the particular numbers on this, so I might just be full of crap here, but it feels like most edge rushers, if they're not a top 10, top 15 guy in the draft,
Then they're
then
average.
they're either one, yeah, they're average, or
Yeah.
two, it takes them 2, 3, 4 years to turn into. I mean, even Ed Oliver, he was a top 10 guy, and we were
Right.
like, okay, get rid of this guy. He's just not cutting it. It took him 4 years, right? Or 4? This is year 4 or 5. Anyways,
I don't know.
it took a while for him to get there, right? There is. I gotta scroll through here and find him again.
I just want to say I'm a big fan of Epinesa too. I'm sad if he leaves, but I think he's got it.
I just need more consistency out of him because we
Yeah.
have not gotten that. He shows up
Right.
in spurts.
Right.
And like I said, this team needs somebody they can count on that's a problem every single week.
Yeah.
Like the Chiefs have Chris Jones. You have to game plan for that guy. You have to be focused on him and know where he's at. Aaron Donald, guys like that are a problem every down, every
Mhm.
week, and not just occasionally. Maybe Epinesa makes a play. Occasionally he's going to and that's the thing with him. It feels like when he has that big, kind of like Gabe Davis, he disappears, has a big game, couple turnovers, a sack,
Or gets hurt.
disappears. I think
He made that interception, got hurt, and we didn't see him
Yeah,
for weeks. It's
yeah.
like,
Um,
just when
there's
things are getting good.
there's one edge rusher from Alabama, Chris Braswell, that depending on where you look, Some have him ranked really high, some not so much. I've even seen some mock drafts where he's going in like the third, fourth round. But he had 13 sacks last year with Alabama. I think it was 10 QB hits, 30 QB pressures. If something like that, maybe you go grab him later. But to me, oh man, I don't know. I keep going back and forth with it all the time because I want a top flight wide receiver.
Yeah.
And not just because they need it a number 2, not because I don't think that Gabe Davis is the guy, but Stephon Diggs, maybe he is hitting that wall. But even if he's not, he's going to sooner than later. So we need to go ahead and start filling the cupboards full
Yeah.
of wide receiver talent.
He's not going to be around as long as Josh is around.
Exactly.
Basically. Yeah.
Exactly. There's another comment here. Roy, as far as the draft goes, again, this year my stance is load up on offensive weapons.
Mhm.
The defense doesn't have to be top 5 to be successful. I
They've
do
shown
agree
they can
with
make
that.
happen. No matter what.
And I'm more on board with that because of what I've seen from McDermott this year.
Yeah.
Years past with Leslie Frazier, that whole bend but don't break mantra, I was never really a big fan of that. I feel like this year with McDermott calling the shots, the defense was far more aggressive.
Yes.
He used whatever he had left on the roster to get it done.
And he made it work to the best of his ability, man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, against the Chiefs, it was too many injuries.
Yeah.
Joseph here. It would be nice if I can't even pronounce Latu fell to the Bills. I believe he's an edge, right?
Yeah. I gotta look him up now.
He's probably going to go in the
top.
top. Well, I say top 15, but if you think about it, they're saying there could be as many as 10 wide receivers going in this first round.
Yeah, he's an end at UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA. It's a cool story too. They did a piece on him actually on ESPN, or not ESPN, but well, it might have been, whatever. Where he was out of the game, came back. Kind of a comeback story with him.
Yeah.
Totally forgot where I was going with it, but at any rate,
he had a neck injury.
Yeah,
Is that what happened? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, and he almost didn't play again.
Right, and he made a comeback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay. Thank you, Joe, for reminding me. UCLA, not everyone's looking for edge this year. That was my point. I'm hearing as many as 10 wide receivers can go in the first round. There could be like 5 quarterbacks going in the first round. This draft is loaded with wide receivers and quarterbacks. So yeah, it is actually maybe possible that some of these edge guys, some of the better ones, could fall to 28 or get close to. Roy wants to know Daquan Jones, one and back. I do.
Yes. I forget what Casey commented earlier too, that I think he was on board too with that.
Yeah.
Yes, we do want Daquan.
It's hard because he's 32. So it's not going to be there too much longer, I don't think, for him. But we're also in kind of a situation or position right now where we don't have a lot of other options to fill that spot. And I think if they can get him on another 1-year deal and then, go from there, maybe draft an interior guy here in this draft that can kind of sit and learn. But the offseason is going to be interesting. At the moment, with Gabe leaving, it sounds like we might need wide receiver 1B or wide receiver 2 in the draft. I don't know that it's a done deal with Gabe Davis. The team wants him back. He has said he wants to be back. Now, granted, with the fans getting into his business during the game last week and that whole nonsense, maybe he doesn't want to come back now.
Well, you're giving him crap because you don't think he was playing good, but you're doing it at a game that he's not even playing in. Like,
yeah,
make it make
some
sense.
Of the fans out there, man, they need to just stop. But yeah, I want Jones back.
Out there in Buffalo.
I mean, let's be fair though. Every fan base has them.
I know.
Right? It's not just Bills Mafia. There's Chiefs fans out there that are like that. There's Jets fans and Vikings fans. Like, you name the fan base, there's a jerk somewhere in that crowd. Guarantee you.
There's no need for it.
Societal issue. Yeah, no need for it at all. But I do agree. Whether we keep Gabe Davis or not, we need another wide receiver. I'd be fine if we even draft a couple of them. To be honest, give me one in the first round and then grab another one in the fourth or fifth somewhere. Because Puka Nakua, I think he was a fifth rounder. Khalil Shakir, our own guy, fifth rounder, fifth or sixth.
I'm fine with Gabe staying, even if he's just for blocking.
Yeah,
I really
think
love
about
watching
Gabe
him
Davis.
blocking this year. That's like what stood out to me. And I'm like,
think about him as a fourth or fifth option in the wide receiver room.
yeah,
That's a pretty good option, right?
right, yeah.
Because you've got
He'd be in like Sherfield's
not
spot.
necessarily, yeah, because not necessarily this order, but Diggs, Shakir, Kincaid, James Cook. Those to me are the four that this offense should revolve around. Love you, Dawson Knox, but it's time for Kincaid to be the guy full time and garner all the targets. Let's talk about Shakir for a second. Do you think he could be our number one?
Number one?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel like he could be better than a number 3. He's definitely a solid slot option. He's got some serious talent. I don't know. I mean, Diggs is our number one. I picture a number one receiver having a lot more size than we have.
I think Shakir's bigger than Diggs. Diggs is kind of
Is he?
smallish, honestly.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because the way he
But
moves and gets low to the ground. He seems like a smaller guy, but man, is he quick and he's got some moves. But man, I mean, there's like no limits right now for Shakir because he's kind of gone. I mean, you've watched him for years, but I feel like he's definitely gone above expectations for people.
okay, they're pretty much identical.
Yeah.
They're both in the 190-pound range. They're both around 6 foot.
He might be better at catching. I don't know. That's to be seen.
I mean,
That's to
he
be
had the number
determined.
one catch rate in the league amongst wide receivers
Yeah.
with Shakir.
I say
And
you
I'm
could put
not
him at
saying
number
that.
2. And well,
Yeah.
I don't know. You want Diggs to feel threatened for his job almost. Start catching them balls. No, I don't know. God,
Well,
it's killer.
I'm honestly, and I'm not saying that to replace Diggs as the number one. I'm just saying
Yeah.
down the road.
Right. Okay.
Because Diggs is our number one guy next year and probably the year after. Who knows? But I think here's the thing.
I
Shakir's
mean,
been
take Diggs
so
off the
good in the
team, and
slot.
he's up there in one of the top targets.
Yeah. Shakir's been so good in the slot that I don't know that I want to move him from there.
Right.
Do I think he could play outside? I do because I've seen him do
Yeah.
it. So I'm here at Boise State.
I
Now
mean, he's
it's a
solid
different,
there.
yeah, it's a different world versus NFL, and I get that. But I mean, you look at guys like Tom Brady made a living out of throwing to his tight ends and his slot receivers. I mean,
Yeah.
he won 6 Super Bowls doing that.
And I want to see more of that. I mean, the one game where we came out, we threw it to Shakir 5 yards, and then we just rolled and scored. I think it was the week before last, and it's just I want more of that. 5-yard passes, drag routes, flats. I mean, we've seen some flat routes not work out so well, but more mid range and short passes, and I mean, only take these long shots when you really, really need to.
I think you need to take those to keep the defense honest,
I mean,
right?
you do, yeah, but
I understand what you're saying. Do it
yeah,
just enough to keep them honest.
yeah,
Get those big plays because you do need the big plays in your offense. But and that's the one thing that for me stood out this year with Shakir is the guy that I saw here at Boise State catching those short routes and then turning them into long plays or touchdowns. I saw that a lot here, and I knew he was capable of it. We didn't see it his rookie year. We saw a lot of that this year. Like he took a number of them, and even in the Chiefs game, the Chiefs game with the touchdown. The week before that against Pittsburgh, he had that one where his knee basically was like
an inch off the
can't even
ground.
tell you how close it was to the blades of grass. But that's what I know he's capable of. But because he's been so good in the slot, I kind of want to keep him there and
Yeah,
see if we can find another answer for the outside opposite Stephon Diggs. And then
hmm
Gabe Davis can go back into the slot as well. I mean, hell, let's go with 4 wides and a running back. But then what do you do with Kincaid, right?
He's
I
one
don't
of the
know.
wides.
Well, you'd already have Diggs. Yeah, I guess you could do that. Diggs. Well, it depends. If you're going to go draft another receiver, then you've got that guy. But anyways, um, the old Detroit Lions run and shoot from back in the day, right?
Yeah.
This is a good. So first, let's get to Roy's comment. Shakir can play inside and boundary. I don't think he's a true number one, but definitely a threat to the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think he's a true number one. I don't think could be one of those elite guys.
Right.
But he can definitely play inside or outside. Derek Warren need a Costco-sized box of defensive depth. It's funny that he
Yeah.
says this because, mark my words, when we get to draft day and Brandon Bean drafts, we got 10 picks, counting the compensatory pick, which we don't know for sure where that's going to land, but 10 picks. I would not be shocked if 6 or 7 of them are defensive players. And Bills Mafia is going to lose their mind. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go again. Brandon Bean drafting all these defensive
Well,
guys.
but on offense, you really only need, a piece or two. And Derek's right. I mean, depth on defense. We've showed how we've used the depth this year. We have to keep that depth.
Yeah. The offense, and let me talk about this really quick because we are running out of time since you brought up the offense. One of the things that I'm looking forward to seeing next year, and it's not official yet that Joe Brady is the OC, but I'm pretty sure it's probably what's going to happen. I want to see him next year in year 2 because if you think about what he did this year, he basically took over Ken Dorsey's offense. He was calling Ken Dorsey's offense,
Yeah.
different plays, but it was still Dorsey's offense. Now he gets a full offseason with all of these weapons the Bills have on offense, and Josh Allen, of course, and they're probably going to add 1 or 2 more weapons, I think, through the draft and probably some through the free agency. But I want to see what he does with his offense,
Yeah.
what he does to turn it into his group, his team, his offense, and see what that looks like.
Do you think like part of that transition, led to us seeing, I don't know, the lack of digs here and there? Do you think like they're looking for a different way to utilize them, or they're I don't know how to quite say it.
Well, I think I know where you're going. I saw somebody on Twitter today make a comment similar to what you're saying. There is basically that they don't want Joe Brady as the OC because he doesn't know how to utilize Stephon Diggs,
Or they're
and
just
we're just
trying to
hoping.
click and get in that groove. You know what I mean?
But
And it's
yeah,
just a
but
switch
here's
up. It's something different. Maybe we're just thrown off by like a lot of things worked, but maybe that kind of suffered a little bit with the change,
I think
I
there's some
guess.
of that, but I kind of go back to the stats and what I saw on game day is a screen pass to Stephon Diggs that he drops.
Yeah.
The deep ball and again the Chiefs game that he drops. He led the team in drops. Now I get it. He's got more targets than anybody else. So,
Right.
but you're a top 5 guy. You're supposed to be an
But he's
elite guy.
not the guy
You
that
should not you
ugh,
should not lead your team in drops. But for that reason, he was like I said, he was still getting his 10 close to 10 targets a game. So I don't know
yeah,
if it's as much as Brady's offense and play calling kind of disjointing the whole chemistry between the two or what.
right.
But um, there's one other thing before we get out of here.
Mhm.
Roy Collins brings up a good point. I wouldn't be surprised if those 10 picks
Hey,
turn into 7.
I'm with it.
Yeah,
Move up.
I wanted to actually do a kind of a breakdown of the point system for the draft picks and see how many picks it would take to and how far up in round 1 we could get if we packaged up maybe 3 of those draft picks. I don't think we can move very far because those points values drop quick with each pick.
Yeah.
What would you do, Mike, if you got 10 draft picks? Would you be open to, I don't know, who's it? Give me a name that's under contract still.
Uh I don't know. Diggs. No, probably not him.
Well, no. So somebody that you would be open to trading, a package
Uh,
a player with a couple of draft picks to move up. Because last
uh,
year we talked about this kind of
that's
scenario. We
tough on
talked
the
about Ed
spot. I
Oliver.
don't know who to trade right
I
away.
know, I know. We talked about it last year, right? With Ed
Terrell
Oliver,
Bernard. No,
Epinesa.
I could trade him.
Oh,
You're just thinking of guys under contract still, and I'm thinking about the guys I'm thankful that are still under contract. It's tough
yeah,
to pick a guy to trade right now.
it is. It is. We had some guys last year that we thought maybe were, but now they're free agents, and that's
Yeah,
one reason why we thought about them as maybe trade bait a year ago because they were still under contract. But now, yeah, 21 free agents. It's gonna be a fun off season. What are you kind of looking forward to the most this summer?
just hanging out every Thursday like we have for the past year. That
Every
and
Thursday night.
I don't know. I'm excited because I kind of we kind of jumped on board midway last off season, or I don't know when, and this is my first full year covering the Bills, I guess. So I'm just excited about the fact that I'm just more in tune with what's going on as a fan, and yeah, I'll just it'll keep me going through the off season. I know there's more things to look into, more things to pay attention to. I'm following a lot more pages that cover the Bills too, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm looking forward to a lot more, and guys resting. I'm looking forward to guys getting healthy this off season.
Health. Yes. Yes.
Um,
Let me touch
so
base really quick here on what Casey said as far as the draft thought. Elam, this year's first and a third,
yes,
because we have two, and next year's second to move
but I
up and
like
get.
Elam, so I couldn't say him.
I like Elam too. I think we're gonna see a different player next year with him.
Yeah,
But I mean, maybe if they really, really, really want to go up in the first round and grab somebody, then they could certainly do it. Roy Collins says, I think Bean's first trade will happen in the third round, moving up in a trade
okay.
up. Um, we're going to go on and get out of here. If you're listening right now, please hit the like and subscribe on YouTube. Check us out, of course, Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network. You can find us on any podcast platform that you listen. And check out the other shows with Buffalo Rumblings. There's a lot of great shows throughout the week. And yeah, on behalf of Mafia Cast, Game On
Brought to you
Sports
by
with John,
yeah.
brought
Don't
to you
forget to check
by
his stores out.
check his stores out. We're going to get on out of here. Go Bills.
Go Bills. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.